Hi all, it's Denise. I've been in my studio this afternoon making a video, actually creating a piece of art while I'm making a video for a special event that I was invited to take part in. It's a video collaboration with 6 artists, me being one of the artists, and we each received an envelope with the identical elements, papers, letters, little trinkets, photographs, netting. We all got the same thing and we're challenged to pick at least 10 of those things and turn them into a piece of art. All of these pieces will be streamed together. All 6 of the videos in the end will be streamed together. So you'll be able to see how 6 different artists look at and what we do with those elements that we received. So in order to make this video a little bit faster, I am doing a voiceover because I had to edit a lot out. It's hard to do a piece of art in 20 minutes, so there was some editing going on. And I'm going to speed it up as well and pop in every once in a while and make comments on things I think you might be interested in knowing. Otherwise, just sit back and see what I'm doing. Right here, I got started by pulling the papers together that I wanted, tearing them up a little bit, and getting ready to lay down my elements on a canvas board that I stained the background. I'm going to be using gel liquid, matte medium, to lay my papers down. It's my favorite thing to use. And I just start by getting my canvas covered. I use a silicone bowl scraper, is that tool that I'm using there to make sure that my papers lay down nice and smooth and I get all my air bubbles out of them. Okay, now I'm going to add in some tissue, and it's a 3-ply tissue that I've taken the back 2 plies off of, so it's very, very delicate and very thin. I usually don't put this type of paper on until the very end because it's too easy to tear. It's really, really delicate, but I love the way that when you put it down, everything below it will show through. So I really like that element of it. It also is really easy to repair, like you see me doing here. I started out really wanting that little border to continue along, so I kind of repaired it, and that's where I'm at right now. I do have to be careful now going forward with the rest of my papers because I can really easily damage that tissue paper. As you can tell in a lot of my work, I really like the linear, more graphic style. I'm not big on curvy, swirly. I like just nice, clean, graphic feeling. This little card, I don't know why I love this little card. It's somehow going to play into the story, and I had to move it over to expose a couple little pieces of text that I liked in the paper that was hanging off the edge. So I just went ahead and added in all my linear because that makes me feel good. And what I really enjoyed working with, the material that I enjoyed on this, was the aluminum foil. It lays down so great, and it was kind of fun. So I also notice right here that I'm adding flowers to the in the hand of this man, in this male figure. I thought it was really cute that he was holding a bouquet of flowers behind his back. But as I kept working on the piece, the story kept changing and progressing and moving from one theme to the next. So the little flowers kind of disappeared, as far as him having a bouquet of flowers behind him. I also needed to pull out my heavier gel medium, which is really much better to use for heavier objects, thicker papers. And as you can see, I add things and I take them away. It's all a push, a give and take when you're working on one of these pieces. To put things down to see what works and see what you like and cover up what you don't. So in the rest of this video, you will notice that I add and cover things a lot as I go along. So keep watching. Okay, as you can see, I'm adding in extra elements that I hadn't actually planned on. Somehow, this little boy seemed to work his way into my piece. So the story is going to be changing, and I'm not really sure in what direction, but I really liked him. I liked his pose, and I kind of liked the way that he worked into the piece, as well as that little star. So now that I've gotten pretty much my papers glued down, it's time to start making some of them go away. And I'm going to use white gesso. I usually use that for my white to start covering things up. And my favorite new color, light ultramarine blue, is a golden color. And I'm going to mix the two together and start to cover some of this up. I typically will start with a background wash that is going to be opposite of what my colors on top of it are going to be. For instance, the quinacridone nickel azo gold that I have on the background just rubbed in is a very, very warm color. And I know I knew starting out I wanted to use blue and my pale green over it, which are cooler colors. So it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting of a piece of art when you have warm underneath cool colors or cool underneath warm colors. It just makes it a little bit more interesting. So that's what I started out with, knowing I was going to come over it, over everything, and start eliminating elements with my paint. And it's kind of sad. I put down things I like, and then I end up covering them up. But it, all in all, makes for a much stronger piece. Okay, now I'm ready to switch up my colors a little bit. This is a golden Titan green pale. It is another one of my favorite colors. These two colors together I use a lot in my work. They're kind of my go-to colors. I can brighten them up with brighter colors. I can dull them down, but all in all, they make me pretty happy when I use them. So I've chosen them as my cool colors to go over my warm background. I also find it really almost meditative to do the little detail line work, painting in between shapes. I'm not too careful with it because I do like the painterly look, but I find it really relaxing just to paint in and fill in those gaps. Yeah, I like that. I also love to use my Stabilo pencils. Um, my black, you can see how short it is, and that is all of them. I have like 3 or 4, and they're all that short because I use them a lot. I love to add a little bit of black detail, just a touch here and there. I think it really kind of anchors when you're using brighter, more vibrant colors. It kind of calms it down, kind of adds some definition. So I'm adding a little bit here, and I'll add more a little bit later on in the project. Okay, this is where I have to kind of reassess what I'm doing. I took the cardboard up in the sky and I painted the light blue over it to kind of knock it back a little bit. My light ultramarine. I also, as I'm going, a story has started to come. I'm not really sure if it's a story about father and son. I'm thinking it's more a story about a man reminiscing about his younger days. And so I'm going to try kind of change this up a little bit. This is, a point where you really have to start thinking about what works with your project and what doesn't, what works with your painting. I love the light bulb. The light bulb is just not making sense in this story to me. So I'm going to change it up a little bit, and I think I'm going to make the light bulb go away, and I'm going to add in a house, a little house that makes more sense with the story. Whatever the story is, whatever the story you make it be. I mean, somebody else may look at this piece and have a completely different story. For me, it's going to be about a man looking back at his youth. And so that's where I'm going to continue on from here. Okay, so now I'm feeling like I've got some negative space. I don't want to fill it up and make my canvas so busy, but I do want to add some little elements in that blue sky that kind of are softer, not as important, but just add a little bit of something. And this is my all-time favorite stencil. It has so much paint piled onto it that I'm surprised I could even, get a stencil out of it. But that worked really well, and I liked that. So now, next step is I'm going in and adding a little definition on my two figures. Just adding some color and then using a piece of deli wrap paper to blot off the color. Because I want it to be kind of soft and faded and have that old feel to it. So that's what I'm doing here. Now I'm going in with some archival pens that are pigment ink, and they're acid-free, they're waterproof, fade-proof, non-bleeding, archival, and I can go in and add some detail to my figures. I don't like there to be, you know, a real strong identifying facial features, just kind of representational. You know, it's a boy, you know, it's you know, he's got eyes, a nose, a mouth, without it being a lot of detail. But you kind of need some detail, so I go and add that in with my pens. Okay, now is my favorite part. I love mark making. I love these pencils. If you haven't used a woody, they are Stabilo water soluble, big chunky pencils, and they come in a million different colors. I'm probably exaggerating, but I always go in at the end and start doing some mark making, and I like adding in you know, little detail with my pencils. So here I'm using lime green and orange because it kind of brightens it up, and it's a nice little complement to the cooler colors I've been using. I'm also going to come back in with my black woody and add a little bit more black in. So, and my little one too. To add some detail. And then I'll come back in with a wet paintbrush and just hit some of those and, you know, soften them out and make them in some areas a little bit stronger. And then I feel like I'm really getting towards the end when my Stabilos and my woodies come out. And by the way, I'm so sorry for all the shaking. Even though I am in Southern California, trust me, it's not earthquakes. I bought a new holder for my phone to video while I'm doing my videos, and I didn't even stop to think that it's on a gooseneck and it's very flexible. So every time I shake my table, my phone shakes. And I promise, no earthquakes, but I did want to mention that so you didn't think there was some kind of crazy thing going on. I will be looking into going back to my old tripod and my tried and true method of taking videos. And you definitely know you're getting towards the end when you pull out the inks and start splattering them. I always love the way the white ink kind of just adds a nice little sparkle, a nice little touch of interest to a piece. So I like to spatter the white, and I really have to use some self-control when I do that, because once you start doing it, it's so much fun. And you will notice in my final photos that I did go back once I let these breathe a little bit and added a few little bits and pieces from the collection that was originally sent. And I'm really happy with how this piece turned out, and I had fun, and I'm so glad I was invited to join in on the group. And I will post the other 5 artist names at the end of this video, so please do check them out on YouTube, and I hope you had fun watching this as much as I did making it.